All right, all right. Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Your double E, Ina Esco, reporting live from the house, right? This is actually the first verbally effective of 2026. I didn't give you a lot of verbally effectives in 2025. And I'll tell you why, because I have been busy. IB Multimedia has been busy partnering with some of our key stakeholders in the community, like my alma mater, Lemoyne College. We are currently building an HBCU media empire over there. We have a digital radio station, Magic 807. We also have a podcast platform, LOC podcast platform, which we've already launched 5 podcasts with staff, faculty, and students. We also have LOC TV. So we have a lot going on, but I said, I promise that I am going to give more content for Verbally Effective in 2026. And today is, a significant day because I think that while we're snowed in here in the South and everywhere else in the country, we are sitting with ourselves and we're very conflicted. We're struggling with what we're seeing on TV, with the killings of our U.S. citizens at the hands of ICE. And we need to say something about it. And of course, I have one of my good Judys coming on the stage on this StreamYard account with me. She is Political Barbie. She's also, you may know her as Theron Bond, but we're going to give her stage name, Political Barbie. She does commentary for my midday show on Magic 807 Radio. And I just want to welcome you to the show, Theron. How you doing?
Hey, I feel like there's like an invisible sound effect that's supposed to go.
I know, right? I need to get my
button right, but we all at home. We in home studio, okay? Just
in
like
the
it
home
was
studio.
during COVID. So that means people ain't got get off them streets. Ain't nothing in the streets, on the streets, or for the streets moving around. So stay at home. Yeah. So they got all the time to watch this.
Over here in your hometown of Memphis 10, we snowed in. We can't go nowhere right now because of the weather. What's going on in DC? That's what I want to know.
What the weather? See the street. I don't know what the streets look like. It's pure white. It's what they say, cocaine white. Is that outside?
But you all are prepared for that in DC, right?
Well, we are a bit more prepared because some of our buses are still running, even though they're on a limited schedule. Our metro is definitely, so our subway system is definitely running, so people can still get to and fro. You just gotta walk through the snow to get to the metro or get to the bus stop. So that's when you live in a city that has reliable public transit, that's the kind of caveat to having it, is that you gotta walk to get to it. But stuff is up and running. People are out now. It's people sledding down the middle of the street, but everything else it's slowed down, but it ain't stopped,
What's the temp out there right now?
Too cold for my body to register. Stay inside.
Baby, I will weather Memphis weather in the Snowmageddon anytime versus DC.
Oh yeah, because we have to shovel our snow. Like it's DC cold. Like if you live in a house, you're required to shovel so much between like your little area of your house and your steps and the walkway, and you got a certain amount of time to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna be shoveling in a couple of hours now that the snow has finally stopped falling.
Oh wow. Well, Theron, let's jump in because there's a lot of things going on besides the mean girl discourse happening in your precious city of Memphis, Tennessee. There are more important things to talk about right now. And I know that you are definitely boots on the ground out there in DC. You're not in Minnesota right now. We're going to get Pastor Jamal Bryant to sponsor you, as he mentioned, at the recent Podbox Memphis Podcast Festival.
Yeah.
We're going to get him to sponsor you to go boots on the ground out there in Minnesota. But I think that's ground zero right now for a lot of the turmoil that we are experiencing. So I want you to give your perspective on what you saw happen very recently this past week in Minneapolis with the deaths of Alex Preddy, and Renee Good. Most recently, Alex Preddy. We saw that man executed in front of our eyes, and they're trying to tell us we didn't see what we saw. So give me your, your perspective on what you saw happen that day.
if we're going to keep it simple, then what we are seeing, which didn't just start that day, it still hasn't commenced to ending. It's an ongoing thing, unfortunately. What it is abuse of power at its highest level by government, by federal officials, by law enforcement, by people who we are supposed to be able to trust to protect us, to serve us, to do right by us. And we have seen that go completely out of the window. Now, what we are experiencing in real time are various moments of that iteration of things that's happening all across the country. I do believe Minneapolis is ground zero for how the country will shift either further in a bad direction or to a better place that we really need to see. But Minneapolis has been here before. If we remember what happened to Philando Castile, if we remember what happened to George Floyd, those were slightly different moments, but a very similar set of circumstances with abuse of power happening. And we our Congress is MIA. You know, they're having a lot of conversations behind closed doors. They are sticking beside their man, Donald Trump, and he is not only hurting Democratic constituents, he's hurting Republican constituents. This is going to hurt them in the midterms that are coming up at the end of the year if we get to them. But a lot of things are happening really, really fast, and what's critically important is that people pay attention. People begin to have the hard conversations with their elders, with their spouses, their partners, their teacher friends, their kids. There has to be a kid friendly version of a conversation to have with them, because at some point they will go back. We snowed in now, but they will go back to school, and kids
Yeah.
will talk, and you can only shelter a person, certainly a child, so much before they start to ask questions. And you want to make sure that they have information that they can understand in a manner that they can understand that is age appropriate. And there's a limited amount of nice ways to talk about what's going on now, but it has to happen because right now it's hyper focused in Minneapolis, but we've had situations and run-ins with the National Guard and other federal agencies in Memphis. We've had it in DC. We've had it in New York. We've had it in a lot of places that right now it's kind of getting pushed down, but that's because the height of things is in Minneapolis. And President Trump has already said he's considering invoking the Insurrection Act, which in turn would create martial law, and thus we may not have midterms. So these are all things that are floating around as considerations of what could happen, and we need Congress to have a backbone. We need Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries to stop talking on Instagram with his New York hat on and do something. We need people to stop taking money from AIPAC and supporting all of these other countries and these other philosophies and these other initiatives. And we need them to stand up for the American people, because right now we are at a deficit. We are losing and things are going downhill fast. And the more people don't feel protected by government, by people who are supposed to lead them, by people who are supposed to protect them, they will in turn find ways to govern themselves and act accordingly.
And that's what they want. What do you think about a military coup happening right now? Is that a possibility, or where do you think our military stands with Trump right now?
You know, that's tough. I think we saw the coup attempt on January 6th some years ago. We certainly don't need that to happen again by anybody, either party. I think right now our military is in a bit of a pickle. They're in a conundrum. I mean, they're being led by Pete Hegseth, who can't put the bourbon glass down long enough to see straight and do the right thing for the American people.
But
We're
it seems
talking
like some tension with Hegseth and the military officials at the same
Well, I
time.
mean, a lot of the senior leaders who may have been women or may have been, you know, black folks, he's made every attempt to remove them. It's very whitewashed in a way that doesn't necessarily match merit. which is what a lot of people in the Republican Party attribute things to. Oh, it should be based on merit, but that's not what we're seeing or experiencing. So that's why people like Alyssa Slotkin and Mark Kelly were a part of a video telling people to, military folks, to refuse illegal orders. That's why there's a controversial billboard that may be going up in Memphis from veterans talking about active duty military folks being able to refuse illegal orders. So people who join the military to serve their country proudly, some don't feel that there's a country that currently exists they have to be proud of. So where does that put them in their service if they're in the middle of a contract and it may be years before it ends? What else do they have, and what does that mean for an administration who penalizes people who stick up for themselves in everyday life? Certainly, what would that look like in the military? I would hope that doesn't happen, because what also is taking place are more and more people are becoming registered gun owners. People
Yes.
who never wanted to own a firearm, people who honestly have some fears around owning a firearm, whether it's because kids, traumatic experiences from the past, whatever. They are now saying, I need to do this. I need to be able to protect myself. I need to be able to have this just in case something happens, just in case somebody shows up to their front door. They want to be able to say they're able to at least have a fair attempt at fighting their way out of it. And the more we see this country go downhill, the likelihood of more registered gun ownership taking place is going to happen. So what does that mean for a bunch of people with various tempers, various backgrounds, various levels of training, right? Just because you're registered doesn't mean you got the training. So I encourage people, if they are going to become a registered gun owner, please do the training and do continued training. I am a person personally, there are a number of reasons that I don't own a gun. One of the number one reasons I don't is because I am a person that I'm not going to ask any questions. If I truly do feel like somebody has showed up at my door in the way some of these feds have shown up and just tried to bust down people's door, kidnap people, I'm not going to second guess it. If you roll up on me fully covered with a mask, no identifying information, badge number, none of that, I'm going to assume you are trying to hurt me, and I am going to act accordingly. So Theron is not a gun owner, registered or otherwise. If I was going to become a gun owner, I would certainly do the training and get registered. And it's something that I think about more and more. And there are millions of people like me who are having the same conversations with themselves and the people around them, because we don't want to be in the wild and feeling unprotected, and they shooting us down in cold blood and nothing is happening. So what message does that send to the American people, where, like we were saying earlier, it's supposed to be land of the free, but who's free around this thing?
Free.
The only thing
Right.
I see that's free around here are bullets flying at American citizens and innocent people just standing around that are otherwise being abused by government, none of which should be the case.
Right. What you say, Theron? You gonna stand your ground if you had the
Listen,
weapon. And I will tell you this: I am a gun owner, but I do need to go to the range to properly learn how to use it. But like you mentioned, Civil War already. We're at the brink, or are we already in Civil War? What do you think, Theron? Are we there? Are we there now?
I think the environment is saying we're there. I don't want to call it something until it has been called a thing. I'm gonna
And
call
who's going to
a
call it the
spade every
thing?
day.
When is it official?
I would say right now we are definitely in a fight against a fascist authoritarian regime. There are a lot of things that come with that. Sometimes wars are bred out of that, sometimes changes in legislation. So I think it has to be designated that before we call it. I think that would be responsible journalism, right? To call it what it is and not what it ain't. But I think the makings of that are certainly in place. I mean, we're seeing Project 2025 walk itself out. You know, there's 10 steps in a process. Many people are saying we're at like 7 or 8. And so the next step are things like martial law. The next step are things like canceling elections. So all those things make for what could be the next civil war. And what does that mean for a draft while we're being led by a draft dodger? You know,
Yeah.
what do things like that mean? And so people have got to be prepared. I know people don't like to watch the news. I know people are watching social media channels, independent journalists, things like that. Get some trusted news from somewhere. And I mean trusted where you can verify in some capacity, get it from trusted sources. Ask people who have been in a protest, what is that like? Ask people who may have been, a part of a riot, what that is like. People need to know the distinction between a protest, a march, a rally, a riot, an insurrection, right? And we need to be able to identify those as what they are and what that means for people who are watching, and also what that means for people who are participating. The administration now likes to call a lot of things a riot, but everything is not a riot. And just because you see one fire in a trash can does not make things a riot. Fires are generally associated with quite a few riots, yes, but just because you see one or two doesn't indicate that what's happening is a riot. Now, what we saw in LA during Rodney King, the LA riots,
Yeah.
absolutely, they was going in and had a legitimate reason to do so. The reality is that when people don't have a place for their emotions to go, when people do not feel protected, when people feel like enough is enough, whatever their threshold is, they tend to act abruptly. But now we're talking about a whole country of people feeling like they're down and out. They may not have a job. They can't get transportation. They can't afford their house. They can't afford gas. They can't afford groceries, insulin, other forms of medicine, healthcare. All these things compounded with what they're hearing and seeing on social media, what the news is tap dancing around, and people not putting checks and balances in place for a president who is running amok, unhinged. So in order for these things to stop or be yielded, guess what has to happen? Somebody has to get the president in check. And I would say when many have a problem checking their congressional members, checking their governor, checking their mayors, checking their city council persons, checking their county commissioners, and holding them accountable when they're wrong, who's going to be brave enough to hold the president accountable? Because that's the person that I'd like to talk to.
Right. We've been waiting. We've been waiting on someone to hold President Trump accountable. And, I think the sentiment for Black people has been, oh, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to let y'all do the protest. We're going to let y'all, march and all the things. But do you think that should be the direction for our people? Now, I know we've been through a lot. Our history proves that. And now we're seeing everyone murdered in plain sight, right? And I think that has woken a lot of people, all ethnicities at this point. So should that sentiment stay the same with Black people sitting this one out? Or, what do you think about that?
There's a really good video that actually just started surfacing this morning about addressing, and it's a very nice video about addressing Black people who want to sit this one out or feel like this is not about us and this is not our fight. And it reminds me of when I went to an organizing meeting in DC a couple of months ago, and they asked about if you thought we can win this fight against Trump and his administration, everybody move to one side of the room. If you say yes, if you say no, move to the other side of the room. There were hundreds of people in this church. I was the only person to move to no. So they wanted to know why. And I said, we are not ready yet. People are not angry enough. People are not courageous enough. People are hesitant to volunteer for things that they care about. So if I don't trust you to volunteer for something you care about, how can I trust you if I'm getting beat in the streets to step in, to provide protection to me, to help me, to attempt to save me? I don't. And that's the sentiment that so many people carry. White people have watched Black people get mistreated for hundreds of years and selectively step in because many do not think that it directly affects them, or people in general want to turn on, oh, it ain't on my, let me put on these blinders, it's not affecting me. But it may affect someone at your child's school, your church member, your coworker, your neighbor, as we're seeing Trump's administration talk about targeted operation. So if you're in the vicinity of, guess what? You are subject to whatever is happening by someone you may or may not know. So Black people historically have felt like, okay, you gotta hype them up to get them to do their part for some things. But then once we are there, it's like, okay, I did my part. Now what? We are very transactional in a lot of ways, and it's because we have given so much over time. It's like, when we gonna get ours? Where is our prize? Where's our reward? Where is our just due? Where's our 40 acres and a couple of mules, right? And
Okay.
we still
Long
have
overdue.
while some of us have achieved, not enough of us have arrived. And what we also see is, simultaneously, while a significant number of white people have not supported Black issues and Black advocacy, we see them support Asian Americans, sometimes Latinos, but Black people historically have shown up for everybody else. Everybody else, while they are still trying to give us crumbs, and we just ain't having it. For the 92%ers feel like, look, whatever y'all thought about this woman being former Vice President Kamala Harris, I'm gonna go press that button so we don't get the clown. Whatever y'all, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hold my nose, or I'm a lover, or she's a soror, or she's a woman, or she represents all these different labels. I'm gonna do it for the cause and keep it pushing, because what's on the other side, I cannot do. Those folks feel slighted. 92%ers definitely feel, they like, look, I gave it one last go. Y'all on, because now, even when we try, even when we do our part, we still don't get the support. So while in essence, Black people could say this is not our fight, the reality is that every day that goes by, it gets heightened for us. I'm not gonna say closer, because we've seen this before. It gets heightened for us to happen in real time. I would say, for me, when they shot Renee Good in the head, I was like, oh, they shooting white women now? It's a wrap.
Exactly.
It's a wrap for Black women.
It's over.
Before, it is now. And then, unfortunately, with the recent execution of Alex Pretty, it's like, oh, they shooting white men. And then my light bulb went off, and I figured out what it was. It's not even just white women that can separate themselves in the past, or white men. It's if you are not white, male, and right-winged, being that you are a major Trump supporter, you are subject to whatever is going on the worst possible side of things. That is the reality of it. Is this administration does not respect Black people. They don't respect Asian Americans, despite their longing for proximity to whiteness for a lot of them. They don't respect Latinos. They don't respect even white women. Even then, they are put in some subordinate positions, because if a white man comes along, he's going to supersede that white woman.
Yeah.
And the sooner that white women realize that, the better off so many of us will be. And now that's what they are experiencing. Now white women especially are experiencing what Black folks as a whole have been dealing with all these years, and they don't like it, and now they won't help. And some of us are saying, I tried to tell you, you didn't listen. You wanted to argue, you got it. But the reality is, we unfortunately, again, right, and we hate being in this position, which is why we feel the way we do. Again, we are left to feel like if we don't do it, the sugar honey iced tea won't get done.
Right.
If we don't engage with it in some way, it won't get done. But the reality is, they need to use our strategies, but they need to pay us for them. Because Black women know exactly what to do. We know exactly how we can fix this. We know exactly what it should look like, who should be at the forefront, the conversations, and all those things. They still not quite ready to listen to us in spite of what's going on. When that happens and they fund us and let us lead the work and the strategies and the advocacy, then things might move a little faster. But now Black folks are saying, hey, you want me to show up? I might could do it, but here's what I need. So they've got to be willing to give us some things that ordinarily and historically they have not. So it's not just Black people's fight. It's not just indigenous people's fight. It's not just Latinos people's fight. it's us as people who right now live in America, citizen or not, regardless of your immigration status, is if you live in America right now, this is all our fight, because it is all of us against them. And there are more of us than there are of them, but we got to act like it. And they have to position us appropriately. You might not see a lot of Black folks on the front lines in certain cities. Maybe the population doesn't indicate that, but some of us can come in and lead some things. Some of us can give you the strategy. Some of us can show you that. So they've got to start to listen to us. And what we're seeing is the Democratic Party, specifically DNC, all the way down, saying they're the party of common sense. They're the party that's going to get us in the right direction. And to a lot of people, they look weak. We want you to have a backbone. No, everybody can't be on the front lines, but they ought to be on every microphone, news station, social media,
Right.
parachuting into some of these cities, providing aid to people, whatever it is, because what they're doing right now is not working. And it's crazy. It's crazy as we thought things were. Trump won. Guess what? People still voted for him. As crazy as things were on the campaign trail for the 2024 presidential election, guess what? People still voted for him despite what Democrats were doing, which wasn't enough. And that could be a whole separate series of conversations. However, the reality is that they aren't doing enough, and they are continuing to use the same strategy that has unfortunately led to where we are now. So they need to do something different, and we need them to know that too. But they've got to listen to us, and so far it ain't enough people listening to the right people or being positioned properly.
You know what? Something I want to talk about, Theron, is every time an execution happens with ICE, every time Kristi Noem get on that stage, she is centering Memphis in her conversation for some reason. Why are we this beta example of what, you know, a crime-ridden city has all of a sudden turned around? And why are we being mentioned by Kristi Noem so much? Because I know it's messaging from their playbook. And so why is Memphis centered in this conversation? What plans do they have for Memphis outside of all this XAI and National Guard? What's coming next? Because I feel like they're preparing us for something even greater and more dangerous.
They ain't gonna like this. And I'm gonna try to say this without using select words. It really grinds my gears when I see that heifer open her mouth, because now we have to question the truth of it all, and we have to go to other sources to see if what she's saying is valid. So far, most of it has not been, but the title she carries is supposed to, for all intents and purposes, come with integrity. Supposed to, but that's not what she displays. I was watching the news in real time when she mentioned Memphis, and I think I may have mentioned it on social media somewhere. And do you know why she said they're in Memphis, right? But things in Memphis are not Minneapolis, which, be very clear, Memphis has been in very similar situations before for very different reasons. There's a photo of me somewhere with milk being poured in my eyes because I got in the midst of some tear gas. So I know what I'm talking about.
Our cities are very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she said that the reason things were different in Memphis was because of coordination with Mayor Paul Young.
Okay.
So, you know, Mayor Paul Young has been very quiet lately about the National Guard presence in Memphis, besides trying to say that crime has been lowered, which further purports the messaging coming from Trump and his administration. So it looks like everything that he initially worked so hard to say he wasn't in favor of or wasn't moving in lockstep seems to be exactly what is happening, which is what people did not want to believe, which is what certain folks were saying is. So she said it. You know, we cool. We worked it out. We smoothed it
That's
out. We
what she
came
said.
to an
That's what she
agreement.
said.
And
That's what
that
she said.
agreement was not in the best interest of Memphians. So where are the people holding Mayor Paul Young accountable? Please don't let me be the only one.
I've been
Because the
seeing quite
reality,
a few people. I've been seeing quite a few people on social media. They're begging our local leadership to say something.
what
And
do
I have
begging? I agree.
seen,
But hold on, what does begging look like, right? First of all, we shouldn't have to beg our elected officials for nothing because we put them there and we pay their salaries with our tax dollars. I'll be doggone if I beg anybody for anything when it's money coming out of my pocket. That's just me though, and I need other people to realize their power with that. But I think I realize that some people have a fear or a judgment about, oh, what will happen if they hold an elected official or question them. That's what they're there for. They
yeah,
are there to serve you, so you question when they don't. It's really that simple. The reality is that people show up to city council meetings, and that's fine. But there are events, there are conversations. There's a number of ways to make somebody hear you. And I think people should start to get really creative with making sure that elected officials in Memphis hear them. It's been done in the past to ensure that elected officials didn't miss the message. So where are we at now? Right? Things are even more serious. The stakes are higher now. So what are people doing? Why don't they think they can question Paul Young? He's the mayor. If Memphis continuously is mentioned in the media, and it's four things coming from the Trump administration, and we see what the Trump administration is doing in other parts of the country as well, why would we not question that?
yeah.
Like,
Wow.
time is out for letting stuff slide. Ain't no more hall passes, because
Mhm.
if it takes one more incident similar to what we have had in Memphis in the past for us to become Minneapolis, and we are not prepared, we are not organized enough, we are not fearless enough to unify so that elected officials understand we are no longer playing with you. There were some state legislators who went to a core civic reception not that long ago. That's the private prison industry, straight up Republican, has been for 40 plus years. Some of these folks are currently running unopposed. Get serious, Memphis. Get serious.
Yeah.
If you mad, show up. Put together a formidable campaign. Run against these folks. Unseat them. But don't wait till an election to hold folks accountable. They in them seats all year long. Some for 2 years, some for 4 years. What y'all waiting on? Are you
I
waiting
think
till it get bigger? Don't
I
wait to
saw a
be
post you
reactive
made
like normal.
there, and I saw a post you made that said, "Oh, it's still time for people to put their bid in for some of these,
And I meant it.
political positions
And I
coming
meant
up."
it.
Do
And
you
I
think
meant
we'll
it.
have some interesting people pop in that you never expected?
You know what? It's so interesting on that petition list right now that I saw a classmate of mine from Central High School, and I looked at this and said,
What?
I would have never put him running for office in the same sentence. And I said, maybe it's like somebody else in his family, his dad or something. I looked up and I ended up messaging him. I said, bro, I said, what, is this you? He said, yeah. I said, you running for real? He said, yeah. I was like,
Hmm.
oh my God. So some of the people that I would have never guessed are running for office. There are some perennial runners on there. And it's like, baby, if you ain't finna run no real campaign, sit down. Here's the thing. Everybody likes to say they got a right to run. Baby, you might have a right, but that don't mean you should do it in this case. And so don't run if you gonna have step. Don't challenge a big person if you gonna pity pat or think, well, just because I'm the opposite side and this one person over there, people gonna vote for me. No, give them
They don't
something to
work
vote
like
for. Because it's a lot of people
that.
on that ballot that's not giving nothing, let alone something to vote for. They need to go home or take it back to the house or try something else. Because there's some people on that ballot being challenged that have done phenomenal work. And there's some people whose offices are in the trash and they are running unopposed. And I am very confused by that. But
Hmm.
Memphis has to want that. We can talk about it, and that's great. But what happens is we talk about it in our groups. We talk about it on podcasts. We talk about it on TV, radio, and all these things. But when it's time to press that button in the voting booth, it's like a switch turns, and sometimes people do something different. And then they go, oh, here we are again. Yes. because you didn't want to talk to your neighbors, your church members, your folks at school, your folks at the job, whatever it is about this, because generally we grew up in the South where you don't talk about politics, sex, and religion with people. Those things are just too contentious. Now you better be talking about it. You better be figuring it out, because
especially in
it's
this
somewhere else.
climate.
Then it's gonna be at your doorstep next.
Man, at the doorstep. Do you hear me? It's going to be a very interesting year. I think 2026 will change all of our lives in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about how we move forward. You mentioned, the discussions that we're having with our children. I got a 12-year-old over here that is glued in and asking me all of these questions about, racial matters. How do we socialize moving forward? What's really his rights at this point? Because, of course, we're seeing our civil rights impeded on. We're looking at censorship in an entirely different way. And that's something, that my platform discusses a lot, how media is evolving and changing. We see that Trump has taken over these huge media conglomerates. You see the messaging repeated over and over again on these networks. But we have eyes to see what's happening. Thank God for these phones that we can film things and make our own decisions, right? So let's talk about censorship for a minute and legacy media, new media. We recently saw Don Lemon get into a bit of a conundrum most recently. Let's talk about that for a minute, Theron, because Don is a prime example of legacy media now converging to the digital side, right? And being very great at it. Utilizing his skills from traditional media into the new media landscape. But now we're looking at new media, people attempting to put censorship on us. And we in a wild west. We can say what we want to say. We could jump on the platform and do what we want to do until that wrangle gets around our neck. And now we're seeing it with Don Lemon as a prime example. So let's talk about that for a minute and the situation that happened with Don this past week, Theron.
A lot of people, it's funny, the conversation when we talk about Don Lemon, they say him getting fired from his job was the best thing that happened to us.
The best.
I mean, nobody likes getting fired, so I get it. But I think we knew him to be a big personality. We saw that when he did the New Year's thing and he was wasting on camera. But he was still serving. He was wasted, but he was still doing his job. And people really saw his personality and they go, "Oh, I want more of that." People want authenticity. They want somebody that they feel is relatable to them, that enhances their news or information experience. So I think what Don has done by creating his platform under Lemon Media, I think he calls them, his supporters are called the Lemon Heads, which I think is great. And if he don't have a Lemon Head sponsorship and they aren't in cahoots,
he got all kinds of sponsorships. Yeah.
But I think that he has segued smoothly. I wish that was and Joy Reid had a similar path, but she kind of already had the Reid podcast. So that was already in play. I think it's beautiful that they transitioned. I also think it's been that smooth because they came from bigger networks. So what does that mean for journalists at, let's say, local affiliates who are needing to leave, wanting to leave, otherwise parting ways with their media employers, but still wanting to do media, but not necessarily having the backing or as big of a platform? There's a gap in that connection. And some of those seasoned folks aren't as open to connecting with, let's say, less established, less seasoned folks. And I think that's a huge problem too, because what does it look like for somebody who we all in the same pool, even though we're at different depths, but we could be helping each other or at least establish something. And so what if their competitive platform is room for everybody? I mean, it's millions of podcasts. Yes, people watch a select microcosm, but let somebody eat too. We could all eat, as they say. Don is he's just good at what he does. I see a lot of myself in Don because even through my media journey, especially in college, I was asking the questions that people were scared to ask, but everybody wanted to know. I remember asking Victoria Rowell a question in our college studio. You know, I remember asking Ray J a question about Kim Kardashian and Whitney Houston, you know, when I was in college. So when I see Don being very bold and courageous and going where a lot of other people want, I'm like, oh yeah, like send me, you know. And I thought a lot about making that a bit more substantial as far as an independent journalist. It's hard though, you know, not
Oh,
having
it
that
requires
backing
a
is
lot of
hard.
work. It requires
Yeah,
a lot of
it's more work to do, to be directly to the people, which is essentially what that opens the pathway for. I think what he did in Minneapolis was beautiful. You know, he got a text about the convening of folks that was gonna happen at that church, and you know that was very controversial. I think a lot of people are saying, well, it's a church and that's supposed to be protected. Well, so will our rights. Our rights are supposed to be protected and they're not. And I think sometimes extreme circumstances require extreme measures to get things attention. Just because they showed up in a church doesn't mean they were any less peaceful. They weren't cussing. They might have been louder, but organs play loud in a church. Your musicians play the drums loud in a church. So people can't talk loud or sing loud in a church, like, quit playing with me. And this is from a church girl. So I think the fact that he was able to go in, catch what was happening, and then be able to interview the pastor who's connected to ICE, invaluable. Like if there was a way to highlight more people that do coverage like that, I would love to see it.
that's
But I
boots
think that
on
was
the ground.
incredible.
Yeah.
He used his journalistic instincts and was connected enough or figured it out quick enough on the grounds to be able to get in the thick of things. And that's also what this moment requires, is those who are willing to get in the thick of things to make sure that proper, correct, factual news is going out to people. Because
Yeah.
the legacy media ain't doing enough. They tiptoeing, they tap dance, and they doing, and it's like, say
Well,
what
they're
it
on
is.
contract. They're on contract, Theron. There's a contractual agreement,
But what does
and
they soul say? What does they conscience say? You know what?
then
You
they
know
need
why
to come
I
over here
sleep?
to new media. Come over here to new
Listen,
media.
as much as is going on in the world, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to sleep, and generally I have really bad insomnia, but at its core, I sleep well at night because I know that what I have done to make sure other people are informed about certain things does not require me to question my conscience, does not require me to question my morals or my ethics or my integrity, period.
Yeah.
And so now, yes, journalists are worried about the contract, but somebody else said once, they can't fire everybody. And if they do fire everybody or a significant amount of people, and guess what? Their viewership goes down, and they can replace them with whoever they want. It will never be the same. They have, even MSNBC, when they booted Joy Reid, they changed the lineup. They have, I think it's like MSN. It's MSN now. It's a whole different brand now. Number
It
one,
is, and you can
they
tell.
changed some lineups, and some things are still okay with it, but a lot is not the same.
Yeah.
Don
A lot
Lemon
of
being gone is not the same. You know,
yeah.
Sarah Seidner, she was sick for a while, so that coverage with CNN was not the same. And for her to tell people that the administration was flat out lying, I was like, oh, run this clip everywhere. Because we need people who are willing to say, despite what might happen at my job, despite what my boss gonna say, the people deserve to hear exactly what it is. And somebody's got to tell the truth. And if it's not coming from the people that some of us voted in, or it's not for the people who are supposed to be taking care of us, government, right? Who's gonna do it? What they say, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and you know who I think does an absolutely amazing job at new media coverage is Roland Martin and the network that he's built
Hold on,
up.
I want to address some, because I can see this chat rolling up,
I
and
see
I'm looking
it's
at
somebody
somebody
saying,
call people a coon, and I'm gonna address this, and you probably gonna have
okay,
to edit this for the other place that go on, because I'm finna cuss. Whoever that is that's calling people coon. No, what you're sick of, this is
what
probably
are
a
they saying?
racist ass. I'm gonna address it. This is probably a racist ass white person. The last person to be called a coon would be me. My grandfather had a cross burning in his yard while he served this fucking country in the Navy. My lineage comes from that. One of my distant cousins was one of the greatest civil rights leaders in this country. That is my bloodline. People like that are why this country is why it is.
Yeah.
People like that are why people are learning to fight back in a myriad of ways. What that racist ass white person is tired of is being mediocre. And that is not my problem or anyone else's problems to fix. Don't be mad that black people are smarter than your racist ass. Don't be mad that black people look better than your racist ass. Don't be mad that you feel like a black person took your spot because you were subpar and they were greater anyway. And what we have to do is call stuff like that out in the moment when it happens, period. So
Yeah, we got
I
a
dare them.
troll in the
People
chat.
like that, I say pull up. You
Yeah, we
finally
got a
pull
little
up
troll in
and we
the
gonna
chat.
see.
We got a little troll in the chat. We you know what? We're not even gonna get them any more attention, Theron, because they trolling us at this point, and our conversation is so good.
Oh yeah, I done said what I gotta say, and now I'm gonna move on. Cause they
Yeah,
finna
so
go back to bumfuck wherever they live in they
yeah,
corner with they subpar born life,
yeah,
having not contributed or anything to this country or made anybody's life better. And I do that every single day, and I got receipts. So if they want to have a pissing contest and compare receipts, we
they
can do that,
do.
and I'm gonna win
No,
every
we
day.
No, we're not, because we're not going to give them any more attention. I don't know how they found us, but they found us, and they are trolling. We're going to ignore them, Theron, and we're going to stay
Last
on.
person troll me got arrested.
Well,
That's all I know.
we'll probably never know who this person is hiding
We
behind the
useless in our
keyboard.
toolbox. I do.
Okay, let's get back to new media and the landscape of new media. One of the caveats that I want to talk to you about with new media right now, very similar to, you mentioned Don Lemon, and they're trying to bring charges on Don at this point. Like, it's the censorship that is coming about right now with new media. And I tell creators, I tell podcasters all the time, even though you're putting content online, you're putting it on someone else's platform. You're going viral on Instagram because of the algorithm. You're going viral on Facebook because of their algorithm. That belongs to them. That content, you're letting them own your content when you put it on these platforms. So what do you say? We know that Trump is in bed with these big tech giants. We know he's in bed with my boy who owns Meta, Zuckerberg. Right? ChatGPT. He is having meetings. He's having dealings with the tech giants who control the platforms that we put our content on. And it is extremely important for creators to own their intellectual property, to own their image and likeness. When you put your content on these platforms, just know that you're actually borrowing it out, right? You say, Instagram, do your thing, make me go viral. And at the end of the day, Instagram can take your account away whenever they feel like it, whenever they don't agree with the content. And we're seeing a lot of censorship in that manner. So how can we move forward as new media and journalists in our own right and stay relevant on these platforms without being censored? I mean, I really don't think that there's anything that we can do, especially when they could just grab our account away at any given moment now, because we're seeing a difference with TikTok's algorithm right now. There's a new owner for TikTok. Like, how can we move forward, Theron, in the new media game, in the Wild Wild West, as we once called it, that's now they're tightening the grip on it?
I hate to say it may require a platform shift. But that's the reality, is that it may require a platform shift. With the change in ownership of TikTok, now they're saying they can access your immigration status, they can geolocate you, all these things that were not a part of TikTok in its original form when they were owned by a completely different country. It's like it seems that America gets its hands on things and gets in people's business and then jacks it all up. Unfortunately, people were loving TikTok. People were able to monetize hobbies from TikTok, sell things from TikTok, content. It was a way for people to do something that was just fun and really build a life off of it. And so now there are people who have to switch platforms or say they're not going to put it on that platform, which means one, people who are platform specific, there's an audience there. So what does that mean for your audience who may be TikTok only, having to shift to Facebook or Instagram? But also what we're seeing is pretty steady resurgence of YouTube, which so far has been the least restrictive when it comes to policing of content. I know Facebook, even just this morning, Kedron has been organizing with some people a voter registration drive, and obviously he's been speaking out about some things that have been happening, and now he's gotten some restrictions like right in time for his event, like what's happening here. And it's for, almost a week, I think it is. Instagram, they allow certain people to say certain comments and then they don't block them or delete them or restrict them. But if you're Black and brown, you better watch your mouth. So obviously Facebook and Instagram are both owned by Meta. Even though Instagram catches those things a lot slower than Facebook, TikTok was kind of the free reign place for a lot of people, and now that is declining. Isaac Hayes, I think it's the third, has a platform called Fanbase. And it was initially like, okay, all the Black people come to Fanbase. Fanbase had a lot of kinks. It still does have a lot of things that need to be worked out. And there are parameters around posting as far as time length. If you post something that's 1 minute, it's really got to be like 59 seconds. And then even how it loads the post. Now, it's gotten better about the loading, but people still are like, dang, I got another platform. Like, we were just getting used to, Twitter, and then Facebook started changing, and then Instagram here, and then TikTok and Vine and Snapchat and all these other things that have happened over time. And then as Twitter started to die, then here came Blue Sky. We were like, oh my gosh, another one. But
another
Blue Sky is
one
more liberal, right? Now it's like, okay, here's Fanbase trying to come in. And it looks a lot like Lemon8, but it still has some things to work out before people make it their primary platform. But there's a lot of room for people to do that. But YouTube came before all of these folks, and people would just record videos and it would upload to YouTube so you could post. The live feature wasn't a big thing. And then people were like, okay, and you can go like, and maybe they liked it. The subscribe thing wasn't as big as it is now. As these platforms have changed, YouTube has recirculated back to, okay, well, we can upload content, we can go live. Now they have shorts, so there's a quick scroll feature. The fact that they have a scroll feature in their mobile platform is a thing. They've adapted some things from various platforms and put it into one, and right now it has the most freedom. The comments get a little crazy from people. Sometimes they're like, the comments are a lot harder to deal with, but the platform itself right now is the most user-friendly out of other platforms who have had all these changes. Right now it has the most freedom, so to speak. You got to check through a couple of things with altered content and if it's safe for kids and all these things, but it's still generally the most user-friendly right now.
I agree. I would say YouTube, I haven't seen that censorship try to, seep into the creators' accounts yet. But I encourage all creators, all new media personalities to also not only post your content on these platforms, but post it on your own domain as well, because you own your domain. No one is controlling your image and likeness. I don't even see an option. I'm utilizing StreamYard software right now. And I'm wondering if there's an option for me to go live on avimultimedia.com, right? So that's something that I need to look into right now, because, I'm just seeing everything. It's just something about media where you see these these red flags happen, and you're like, oh, podcasting is going to be the next big thing. You know, you feel that in your gut, and then you start seeing it happen. Oh, these TV networks, these radio networks, they're going to start using programming. They're going to start using podcasts into their programming. You see it before it happens, and now I see censorship for new
With
media.
podcasts, yeah.
Yeah. So how can we protect ourselves right now and provide that content that we're not getting anymore, that information that we're not getting anymore? Like, we don't trust the media in some cases that we've been going to for forever. Your CNNs of the world. I used to love CNN. Now, baby, they are not your same CNN.
Yeah. I think legacy media doesn't go hard enough for me sometimes, and I find myself screaming at the television like, where's the correlation between this and this? Why aren't you saying this? Just say it like it is. And they don't, because the fear in their contracts and other things. But it's also like, wait a minute, that TV audience, for some, I know Anderson Cooper has a connected podcast, but what you say here on TV may be hit or miss, but the podcast version may do entirely better. And so I think there's room for some of the language to shift, but that, that requires additional edits and ADR and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people say talk to an attorney who deals with intellectual property. I think those things are, protect your image as best as you can. And you see more and more people saying their ideas are stolen, or their graphic or their tagline or something was stolen, and then they sue the pants off of them and win because that's their stuff. I think there's room for everybody to be creative out here. Don't steal nobody's stuff. People do that with Facebook posts. They want to copy and paste, and it's like, get an attribution. It don't hurt you. In fact, it might bring more people to you, since that's clearly what they want to do. I think posting it in multiple places when you feel it has been helpful too. I know for me, there's a delay. If I do something right after a news hit, I post it on platforms immediately. But if I do something independently, I may post it previously on TikTok first. I may give it a couple hours, then post it on Facebook, because my audiences for these platforms is different. And even the time they pretty much receive things and scroll is drastically different too. And I think you got to save your stuff. I have an external hard drive. So if somebody was to try to use my stuff 2 years from now, 10 years from now, nope. It's on this device. I got it. It's mine. I got proof. You can Google or search or whatever you got to do. So I think you got to save your content. And if you're able to seek an intellectual property attorney, do that. And also, if you see something that belongs to somebody else, tell the person. Don't just watch it happen. What is it? See something, say something. Yeah, if you see it happening, then say something about it.
But it's the internet is so huge, Theron.
It's a lot. That's part of.
It's hard to manage content.
It is a lot to manage, and part of it is understanding that when we say things like, there's a thing called going viral, right? So that means that a lot of people are sharing what is our work. The plus about Facebook is that when you share it, regardless of how you share it, short of copying and pasting and stealing it, it will still give you the numbers from the original posting. Even if you share, it'll show up as a share for you. But I think also is knowing that, something like this, if for whatever reason it wasn't saved, or we just decided to hop up. Matter of fact, I did an interview with Adina Howard during COVID, and that was before it did an automatic save. Now, if you do a live, it saves it.
Well, great.
Like, I don't have that interview. I wish I did, because she's blowing up all over again. I don't have it because Instagram didn't allow you to save things in that way at that time. But I think for people who have that ability to save their work, do so. I'm going to speak to something that Brother John said also.
Hey, John.
He mentioned Spaces as a place. When I saw Spaces come up, it's on Twitter. I ain't going to call it that other name because Elon Musk too disrespectful for me. But on what we know is Twitter, there is a thing called Spaces. Spaces personally reminded me of Clubhouse, which was really big in its heyday, and then it got weird. And that's the thing. Some of these platforms start really good, and then they get weird. I think Spaces, the idea of Spaces, is pretty solid. It's just that the same audience that is on some of these other platforms is not as heavy on Twitter anymore, because Twitter, as what it's become turning into X, has become a lot more right or far right or right winged, and Blue Sky is like the complete opposite of that. So I think if Blue Sky had a feature similar to Spaces, there might be a lot more people on it, because people, once they feel their way about a platform, they're kind of gone for a cool minute. As we're seeing people run from TikTok and the numbers are going to plummet. So,
And
but
it's
people are
hard
looking for
to
something
go to these
consistent.
new platforms. It's hard
Yeah.
to transition once you found a platform that you like, that you're at
Yes.
ease
And you
with.
figured it out.
Baby,
Yeah.
a new platform. I'm like, Blue Sky who? Blue Sky what? What is Isaac Hayes the third? What's his platform again?
Fan base.
Baby, get them kinks together. I want to support you, brother, but maybe that's why he's still doing the fundraising, because he needs some more money to get that tech right. So in the meantime and in between time, I have actually, Theron, I know you heard about the Netflix podcast, the podcasts that are now streaming on Netflix. We've heard about that partnership with iHeartMedia. We've heard about the partnership with Spotify. It's all over the place, because Netflix sees that podcasting is a viable media source right now. So while we're snowed in, I've been checking out what I've been seeing them push is mainly the sports podcast. So you may have your Our Pod with a bunch of these creators in the sports area. They're pushing sports hard. And I know why, because sports is one of the top genres in the podcasting space. And people are just enamored with sports. Americans, we love our sports, right? So they're giving that content away. Also, we heard about the Breakfast Club with iHeart going into partnership with Netflix. So I'm very interested as a media personality to see what those particular contracts look like, because as we know, a lot of times in media, the talent is at the bottom of the totem pole on who gets that margin, right? That payout, the bottom line is always big media. So I'm very interested to see, are there any censorships on the talent that put their content on your Netflix of the world? Like, we know the Breakfast Club is pretty much, they go in on all type of topics, but I have not seen the Breakfast Club on Netflix just yet, because I think they're going to do like special live events with them and things of that nature. But you notice they pulled all their content off of YouTube. We were just talking about YouTube, how that's probably the most free platform right now. And Netflix told told the Breakfast Club, for example, we're going to get all of your content off of YouTube. You can only now put it on Netflix. Like, as a creator, here you go, boxing me in. So
I would say a lot of people in the media space feel like Netflix is creating a monopoly on things, and I can understand that perspective, because like what you were mentioning with Breakfast Club having to remove their YouTube content, is because now they want everything to go through Netflix. That's part of the power
they want
that
those
is
subs. They want those
Netflix.
subscribers.
And we can go away, but I knew Netflix was gonna be something when they started letting us exchange DVDs through the mail. It's some key. It's this is too old for some folks and a nostalgic memory for others. When they started saying you could have 1 to 3 DVDs come to the house, they trusted you to play those DVDs, and then either you kept them and the cost added up to the value, or you had to return it to get some others. at that time it was like, oh, I don't know what this is, but they're onto something. Then they started to incorporate, well, now you can get some to your house and you can watch some things online. Netflix has grown at a steady rate since it showed up on the scene. It just took some of us a little longer to catch up, and now they are one of the most innovative media sources around. They give you live boxing fights, they give you live NBA games, they're going to give you podcasts now. They give you some of the hottest shows that are out there. They give you Korean dramas. They give you a multicultural viewing. They give you it, like they're giving out contracts to people in the creative space that are extremely lucrative. They're appearing that for many that they value what they have. I know some people have had some hiccups over time. Now they done raised their race and started playing with this whole travel in your household thing. I'm not necessarily a fan of that as people travel more, and it's, you know, some people have college age kids, they go to college, come back. What you mean they gotta have their own? Why, you know, there are things within their price structure that I think could be adjusted, but generally Netflix knows that some kind of way you're gonna find a way to watch them. And now they've not only gone to integrating podcasts into their digital platform, now they're creating activations. I'm actually going to one this week. They're doing what's called Netflix House. They have one, I think one is slated to go to Las Vegas in the next year or two. There's one in Philadelphia and there's one in Dallas. And in these activations, it's like walking into a big fun house of Netflix sets and scenes and all the things that you love from their shows. They've put together a menu of Netflix bites so you can eat things that are themed from the shows. They have special activations where you can get interactive and it's like you're in the show. They have all these and they're making more, right? So now they're taking it from the screen to the scene so you can watch it and then go, oh, I would be on that. I would participate in something like that. Now there's some version of that which allows you to do so. I think they're going to continue to grow. I don't think there should be a monopoly of things, but I haven't seen anyone else become as innovative as Netflix.
Yeah.
And because
I
they've
think
been
they
consistent,
money.
they didn't grow rapidly, right? It was
No.
steady, but they continue to go in an upward trajectory, and it's been interesting to watch. I wish there was also a way to, it's kind of like if you click on a Netflix thing and you just let it rest there, it shows you like a preview. I think there's some spaces for, I'm gonna say, short form video, like Netflix, like how YouTube has YouTube Shorts, maybe short form or original creators, something where they can incorporate social media even more, because they also have where you can play games with the TV. There's certain activations within it, like they're tapping all spaces. So if they're able to do more for maybe independent creators, that would just take them even further over the top.
And Netflix got that money. At the end of the day, they got that money
Yes,
to
they
play with,
do.
and they can test the market, try these different, like you said, live activations. Like that's something that's very innovative, and that's something that, you know, no one has seen yet. So I know that they're currently testing the market to see what works. Even with podcasting, they're in beta phase with it. They're trying to see what works, what doesn't work, which talent we want to work with, which talent goes by the wayside. So it's a very interesting time. I still encourage people to start their pods, start their you know, YouTube accounts. And it looks like, Theron, we have a guest to come on here to talk about new media, John Best. And, you know, John Best is someone that has, you know, been on the team and has helped me along with what we're creating at LeMoyne College with the LOC platform. What's up, John Best?
What up? What up? What up?
He done went from John Best to Brother John to Maker of Culture. Okay.
Hey, that's how it go. That's how it goes sometimes.
How you doing, Maker of Culture?
I'm good. I'm good. How y'all doing? I see I tried to listen to tap in a little bit before I joined, and Theron is being Theron. You know what I'm saying? She keep that foot on your neck, and she ain't letting up. You know, I thought
No,
she was
she's
about to
not.
jump through the screen on
What?
that
Because the
troller.
troll,
She
the
said,
troll,
"Don't
the
you?"
troll.
Yeah, she was about to get that troller. But yeah, love the work that Theron's been doing. I've been supporting Theron for years. Our history go back. So even though we don't see each other every day, I got mad respect for the work that she's doing in the area that she's doing it in.
Thank you.
Well, John, we appreciate you coming on the Verbally Effective Live. It's so many things we can talk about. You know, we all three of us are on Facebook. We're seeing the commentary coming down, but what's been something very out in the open, two things I want to hit on with you, John. I want to know your thoughts of what happened this week with witnessing the execution of the young man in Minnesota who was, you know, exercising his right to protest, exercising his right to carry arms. Where are your thoughts right now with what you saw ICE do?
My thoughts on that is, in basketball, we used to have this term, the film don't lie. When we watch practice, we watch a game. If I didn't do what I was supposed to do, or didn't set a screen, didn't rebound, they'll say, John, look what you didn't do right there. You didn't do that. And the film did not lie. I can't say, no, I didn't do it. And the film is telling me what I did. So when I apply that to what I saw the other day, I done saw 10 different versions, slowed down versions, close up, zoomed out. According to the film, it looked a little different than what was put out in mass media from Washington, D.C. If I could say that, Theron, I want to make sure, because I'm not big on blowing up other folks when we dealing with an injustice in the film. And thank you to the lady, what they call her, the lady in the pink coat. From her angle,
Yes.
it was a perfect angle, with pink or red coat, whatever. But I saw different angles. And according to the film, if I don't listen to nobody's testimony, and I heard that all the witnesses got rounded up, taken to a federal building, all that, told the police to stand down, you can't come around here. This is what was said. But looking at that video, it's some major questions that we need to look at, because I saw a gun get pulled away from the victim, and then I saw an accidental or a shot go off, and then I heard the next shots going out. You know, prayers to the family. I think it was a VA nurse or something like that. So
I see.
he was licensed to carry, as they say, right? Licensed to carry. So I'm going back to my basketball days. Watch the film, and the film don't lie. And it has never lied. And we know in the Black community that we've seen stuff happen on film to our people, and people would say it wasn't like that, but we like, yo, the film shows otherwise. So watch that film, and that's the evidence, I think, for that.
Right, that's the evidence. And it's very disheartening to see the government try to tell us a different narrative, right? Like, we have eyes to see, and we are just sick of it. Like, we see what's going on. This is the second time this happened, maybe the third time. Who's to say the fourth or fifth time won't happen in Memphis, Tennessee? What does that look like for Memphis with ICE? What are your thoughts on that? Could this happen? What we just witnessed happen with those executions, could this potentially happen in Memphis?
I think it can happen anywhere, not just Memphis, right? Even though we got that situation here, meaning that we got the National Guard here, I think it can happen in Chicago, it can happen in DC, and it can happen in Memphis. You know, I know people got a lot of attention on Memphis, but to my point, and I raised this question, and people all in my inbox saying, Brother John, why you put that question out there? Because I said, if it happened here, mayoral candidates.
Hello.
What are the top 3 things you would do if that happened here? I had people saying, John, that's not fair. You shouldn't have said that. That was not good. You putting the mayors in the candidates in a bad position. And I'm like, nah, what's wrong with coming with some actual stuff instead of all in Theron? No, them questions be pre-made. You know, whenever they go live, they already got to stick to the script. But here goes something that's happening in real time, and I'll pose a question. What would the mayoral candidates do? The question that you posed to me, I posed it to them. And I'm not tagging them on the post. They got teams. Theron know. They got people that can get, when they see posts, hey, look what Theron posts, look what Ina posts, look what John posts. But if they respond, that's on them. I'm not asking, I'm just telling them. We gotta
John,
stop.
did you get a response? Did you get a response? Did you get a response from any of the candidates?
I got more complaints. More complaints.
Wow.
No response,
I'm gonna go a step further. It shouldn't take. We're people in media who gonna go to the answers regardless in our silos and in the public. It shouldn't take us to ask the question. That's a simple question. Other people should want to know. In a real public, a true public servant should not only have a response ready because they see what's happening, they should expect to be asked and go, okay, well, when I'm asked, let me go and get my words together. And then they should willingly, just like they send us a press release when they have an event or a party or a celebration or whatever, send me the press release of your response to that too. Because what I have happened, which is similar to John, is they watch, they let it marinate, then they text me or they call me. Some of them,
that's
not
right.
all of them, some of them. Well, why couldn't you just call me? Why couldn't you just tell the public? Then I wouldn't have to call you. It's not my job to call you. It is your job to serve the people and thus provide information. But they want to say how they feel, and then it's like, well, all these other things going on. I get it, but listen, I'm also the person that when I was sick, I'm texting, trying to Facebook and do all this stuff from in the hospital. So that don't really work on me too much, but I understand it. However, that's why they have teams. In the same way, teams are watching what they post, got Google alerts. That was for free. If they don't have Google alerts on their candidate, get them like yesterday because you already missing stuff. But then they want to talk about, well, our support look like this, or if I say this or step on the wrong toes. What you think gonna happen if you get elected? Everybody ain't gonna like you or how you move, but you can move with good intentions. Thus, your impact will be good. But don't get mad at us for talking about it. They know what they doing or not. But to John's account, I put something similar up. I think we might have been posting within hours of each other, and I got something said privately, and it was to the tune of, well, just because we don't say it on Facebook. And I said, in this time, knowing that people on social media, you have to go where your audience is. And if you don't otherwise speak on the record anywhere else, we don't already have it listed in our log of this is where they stand on the issue. And then hours later, a few of them posted things, and then I reshared it because people like, where is that? Well, let me share it. Because now we got a few, but it's too many people running for mayor talking about they want to lead people, and you scared to talk on issues.
Look, since
we can't do this with our county mayor, we already doing with our city mayor.
Since we here, Ina, I mean, you got two outspoken people, real talk. You got two, to have me and Theron together, because I can tag team all day with this, because that's the number one problem right there. Look how the Republicans are watching. Look at all the Democrats line up for this mayoral debate. I heard the Republican chair say, yeah, we having conversations with the people that we want to represent us on the Republican ticket, but you don't see nothing out in public like us. You got all of us out there. 8, how many is it running for mayor right now? 8, 7, 6, or whatever?
Like
that's
6 or 7. Yeah.
That's still
some independents, so 8, yeah.
Right. So imagine that's like me saying, Theron and Ina, I'm thinking about running for mayor. Y'all both said, yeah, go ahead and do it, John. Go ahead and do it. But I ain't proven nothing. I haven't did nothing. I haven't shown the work of what I can do. I'm just going for, because it's, I want to do that. I want to be mayor. Just because I may have a problem with one of the people that's running for mayor, I'm going to jump in the mix too. So I got hit up after I made that post. People were saying, well, you know, Fagans is going to respond to that. I said, I don't care if she do or not. I just want to pose the question out there. And to Theron's point, if you're not asking questions on social media and you not responding on social media, we going to remember when you pull up in the church and you talking about, I need your vote, I need this and that, but you won't handle a simple thing. Everybody is on social media. You got to understand that. And if you're
Let me
not there
say something about that real
handling
quick.
business, go ahead.
About social media. Like, for example, let me play good cop, bad cop with social media real quick. And Theron, you have been a campaign advisor, and you still are for different political candidates. Would you advise a candidate to respond to a post such as what John put out there? Would you advise them to do that? I heard you say meet the people where you're at. If you were consulting a client, would you advise them to do that?
The client that I'm 100% consulting that is running for county commission released a statement. Absolutely.
Okay. But should they respond on, for example, John's post with a comment? Or should they respond by putting it on their platform and doing it and crafting it in their own way?
I think as things happen, yes, they should, because their audience is their audience, but other people have different audiences, which could also be their constituents. So yeah, they should release it. And then as people go, oh, somebody hadn't released it. Oh, wait, yeah, here it is. Here's the link, or here's what they said, or here's, they getting it ready, or they gonna do a video at whatever time, whatever their thing is. Absolutely, because information can travel really quickly, especially now while we all snowed in across the country.
I
look,
think it's very captive audience right now.
Yeah, like everybody on social media. What does it take you to? Here's the thing. Before they started running this, the state of affairs in this country was what it is. It just so happened all these moments started to happen. You should be prepared for rapid response. You should be prepared for an emergency situation. You should be prepared for, unfortunately, a school or a mass shooting. You should be prepared if something happens. And there are certain things that you should just be prepared to talk about. Your team should be preparing you. Therefore, it makes it easier to release a statement in real time. It might take you 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, to get it together, but it should be done in real time while things are happening and people are asking the questions.
And to your point, Ina, if I'm a mayoral candidate and I'm looking to get some swing votes or some people to come my way, what if I answer that? What if I tailor it to, that's one of my points I'm running on now. If something would happen in Minnesota, happen in Memphis, here's my stance. I would get in contact with these groups, XYZ. I'll talk to my business community, my faith-based community. I'll talk to the people across the aisle. You might can gain 100 people to vote for you just by answering that question.
Absolutely.
And you ain't got to answer it under the comments. Do it on your post or do it as a video, as Darren said. But you got to address where the people is at. If people looking at Minnesota and everybody's like, yo, if that happened here, what would happen? And I'm a mayoral candidate, that's going to be one of the things I'm going to tackle. I'm going to touch it, because if I don't have a lot of votes right now, that's my way in to maybe get some votes.
But I agree. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to be the first. I'm going to try to beat out everybody.
Come on.
And then that might encourage other people to do it, but they would be second, third, fourth, whatever.
Yep.
Wow. Well, Memphis
Can't
is
be scared, Ina.
Look, Memphis is being centered as the conversation, as you can see. No matter what happened in Chicago and Minnesota, when they get on that microphone, they're going to mention Memphis. You notice that they're going to mention Memphis. We are on everybody's minds right now. So I think that since we have this platform, we have this stage, we may as well tell everybody how we feel. And, they say that in Memphis, it's hard for us to mobilize and organize. Do you feel that's true? It's hard for us to come together here in the city like Memphis?
Listen, yes. And I'm going to tell you why. And can I go there, Ina? Can I just go there and just tell you?
Do you think maker of culture?
Strip everybody of their title and position. Sit us in a room and let's have a conversation. If you come into that room with your title and your position, nobody's coming together, because everybody want to be that one. Oh yeah, I brought everybody together. Come on now. I told Keidron Franklin the other day, I said, what you did by bringing those street organizations together in March on King Day down, I think it was Front Street, down to the Civil Rights Museum. I don't think it was talked about in the love that it should have got. Because if you use that as an example, and I know some people want to be upset or want to snitch on me saying John supporting gang culture, street culture. If they can do it, and we know our history with street organizations coming together under one flag and walking together in unity, why can't us in the Black community with all these titles and positions and all these people followers we think we got, how come we can't do it? How come in the churches, why it gotta be one particular pastor that speaks for all? Or why can't we come together? We gotta deny ourselves. We gotta stop putting ourselves up there like I'm the one, or Theron's the one, or Ina, you the one. Why can't we all be together and be a force collectively? And then it's a silo over there, it's a silo over there. Frazier got somebody, Whitehaven got somebody. Why can't we just come together? And until we deny ourselves and stop looking for self, what's this? Not like when you're trying to go for self instead of the community, we not going to be successful. I don't care how many kumbaya breakfasts, brunches, and empowerment lunches we do. Until we drop that I'm him and I'm her mentality, we won't come together. And I stand on that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of egos floating around, and people want to be the him or the her or the them without the responsibility that comes with it. For you to do what you do, me to do what I do, John to do what that comes with responsibility, whether we want it or not. When we stepped into this space to be vocal people, to do the different jobs that we do, to be very front facing, that comes with something, and we owe it to ourselves and the people who trust us to do right. Some people just want that title without that responsibility, and then their ego rises to the top and everything else is an afterthought. That's not how it is supposed to be.
That's
I
right.
think when people start, I've said this a lot, and other people have shared similar iterations on social media. You can be judged by your fruit. I don't care what your title says. I don't care how much money you have. What have you produced? What has changed somebody else's life? What have you done when cameras weren't around? What have you done to positively impact somebody's well-being past just whatever your title is? Yeah, people want to take pictures with people with titles, and then what? That picture is a memory. But whatever you did for them is what is life-changing, that has long-lasting impact. And that's what we've got to get back to.
We definitely do. I think it's all about,
Hold up. What's the elder sister that's an AKA who's the wife of the people that do Africa in April?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Dr. Yvonne Acey.
Yes, Acey. At the Civil Rights Museum, the National Civil Rights Museum on Monday, she sat next to the table where we was broadcasting from, and she touched on what we talking about. And to piggyback on what Theron said, she said, it's too many people running. She said, many are certified, but not qualified. She said to Aaron, at Theron's point, what have you done to make you put your name down and say, I want to be the mayor? Yeah, you can have signatures, you can have degrees, all that certification, but what's your qualification? What qualifies you to run for a mayor? And I wish we could have a power. If we was united, we could say, hey, y'all six, sit down. We backing this person. I believe the Republicans kind of do it like that, where they back one person, they put that one person up. They not sitting up 5 people to divide the vote. That's basic mathematics. So John, yes, we need to get it popping like that. Yes, ma'am.
You may have someone ask you, well, what are the qualifications for mayor? What are they spelled out? I mean, is it common sense? I mean, what are the qualifications?
It should be common sense. Can you bring people together that have differences? What's our homeless situation like? What's education? Huh? What is blight looking like? Right?
You done already lost half the candidates right there.
That's what I'm saying. Healthcare in our community. What are the jobs? Youth situate. What are we doing for the youth? What are we doing to attract businesses to Memphis instead of giving them just all these tax breaks? What are they pouring back into our community? You should know before you even put your name for mayor, all the different, I'm sure it's all kind of departments in the city and county, right? You think these folks know every single department that's in the city or the county when they running for mayor? Somebody got to sit them down. I believe it's called the handler, Theron, that says, this is this person, they run this, they do this department does that. But coming in the door, you don't know where the bodies are buried. You don't know where all the secret money is at. You don't know where the what did they call it? The slush fund. You don't know that. Somebody got to tell you that. That's why they want to keep it in the family of, yo, I want this person to run, because if he becomes mayor, I'm still going to have my hands in the pot, or I'm still going to have the luxuries that I have because we propped him up and groomed this person to become mayor. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, ma'am, they should know at least 5 things to do. If you elected mayor today, what you going to do or try to implement in your time?
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely about to see how these campaigns are about to, enter the city of Memphis, because this campaign season right now, the new year has kicked off, and we're about to see what everybody is made of right now. So it's going to be very interesting, even if we see more people submit to be in the race at this point. Did you guys see Devontae join in on the what position is that for? Oh, against Steve Cohen? No, not Steve Cohen. Yeah. Is that Steve
Both are
Cohen?
the highest bill.
Didn't he used to work for Steve Cohen? Didn't he used to
I
do
mean,
something
just
for him?
both. Yeah, both of them.
Pearson
Both of
worked
them
for
did.
Cohen as well. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting off top? That's just right there. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But,
I think
It's
been
obvious
in
to me,
New
and I'm
York.
gonna say why it's obvious. There's a lot I could say about that person, that race as a whole. But ultimately, what I'm going to say is that when State Representative Justin J. Pearson announced that he was going to primary Congressman Cohen didn't take it well. He said all kinds of things directly to people on Facebook, etc. It wasn't cool at all. But that's what happened. He said it. When that other individual announced their race, it was, he's a solid guy. That tells me all that I need to know. It's unfortunate that we are still in a space where people can be bought to disrupt election processes, even at the local level. It is very unfortunate. And we talk about code switching a lot in our community, and Memphis people love a Memphis person. Well, look, if you grew up in South Memphis, great. If you grew up in North Memphis, great. If you grew up in Whitehaven, great. But you can't grow up in Whitehaven one day all your life and then grow up in Tipton County the next. That's just simply too contradicting things. And we're in a time where people are expecting more out of elected officials and more out of candidates. Is it fair to say that Cohen should be primary? Yes. It's debatable about who he should be primary by. But for anybody to get in the race because it appears that they were paid or otherwise to create discourse negatively impacts the electorate, and that is one less problem that we need to have happening.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of things are looking real obvious as this political season is getting into the crux of things, but we're going to hold these folks accountable and continue.
She brought up a good point, though. She brought up a good point about some of these people can be bought, right? Let's look at that for a second. We always say some of our leaders are bought and paid for. Ina, I asked you the question. Why do you think that is? Why do we like to say people are bought and paid for that are leaders? Why do we say that in our community?
Because I mean, that's like an age-old way to get what you want around here. People being bought and paid for, especially in the city of Memphis, because we've seen it in our historic political past here in the city of Memphis. If you look at the climate of the politics in Memphis, not much has changed over the years. Some of the same people and old money are still in control, and it takes money to do that.
Right. So I say that because 10, 11 years ago, when I was approached to join politics, they gassed me with "Oh, John, you're tall. You'll do good in politics. You ever thought about it?" I said, no. Had a lunch date with somebody who tried to convince me that this person was a kingmaker and you should think about what he said. And I said to the sister was beautiful sister. But I said to myself, if I dance once, I'm going to dance twice, and then they'll pass me around like I'm that one. Yeah. So when I said no, they said, "You sure?" Never had a conversation about it again. But I said to myself, I was able to say no, but how many people said yes?
Yes. Ooh.
Because money make our people dance. What's the song? Bands that make her dance. That's a classic Juicy J song from Memphis. But I hope Black leaders or Black people that's watching this in position, they will always come at you with money, because they know we have a history of dancing for money, or a gold card to Popeye's chicken, or tickets or sweets to the Grizzlies game, stuff that make you stand out amongst your people. They will prop us up like that. And then when they make that call, you better answer. You what? You not going to do what? Oh, when this happened, don't you say nothing. How can you live as a man or woman when another man or woman is telling you don't speak out? And you know it's an injustice, but don't speak out on this one. You better not.
When you think about it, the same thing is happening right now with our government. Like, Trump got so much blackmail on these folks, and I think he's just holding it over their head. That's why people aren't making any moves. Like, it's like we're tied to disagreement, right? But
yep.
I mean,
y'all need to look at it. Pay attention.
And we all got eyes to see what's going on right now. We all have eyes to see, just like we saw that video of Freddie getting killed. We all can see what's going on in plain sight.
We saw the video of Rodney King too, didn't we? What has changed from that video to the video that we saw in Minnesota? What has changed? Like, if you look back over it, what has changed?
I think what has changed is the accuracy and the quickness of technology on how soon you're gonna get that video. You're gonna get that video in real time now. Back then we had to wait for that video to drop. Now everything is in real time. And we can make our assumptions, our judgments, our thoughts, our opinions in real time. And we can go on our platform and we can talk about it and tell people how we feel. We could use our platforms to pull people together. Man, technology is a beast right now.
Let me tell you how crazy it is. Technology is so crazy, and I'm sure it's happening to y'all too. While we sitting here, people are texting, because I got my everything on Do Not Disturb, but people are texting me about the Mayor Young's state of the city, events going on, etc. I don't need a single event to tell me what I see with my own eyes, what I experience when I'm there, what I know from direct conversations I have. What is the state of the city gonna do if the state of the city and its leadership not helping the people? It's great to have an event and talk about things at one time, but every single day somebody is experiencing things and asking questions that are going unanswered. So what's the point if you have controlled an environment with which you can display information? That's not what people are asking for. People are asking for integrity. They're asking for assistance. They're asking for answers to questions so that if things happen in Memphis or are already happening. What is going to be done about it? And we're not talking about what's being done for downtown. We're not talking about what's being done for the chamber. I'm talking about what's happening in Orange Mound, what's happening with Boxtown, what's happening with now that all the environmentalists in the city who said, hey, these turbines at XAI are illegal. And now, oh, gee, what happened? They found out that they were deemed illegal, just like that. Like, what are we doing about that stuff? So it doesn't take one moment for people to display that, because that's a controlled environment.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, XAI is still flourishing, and now it's in DeSoto County. I
20
actually,
billion. Was it 20 billion? They said something like that.
yes,
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
you have these tech companies in the tri-state area now, in the entire Mid-South Arkansas. You already know West Memphis down with the tech. Okay. You got Memphis, and now you have DeSoto County, specifically South Haven. So we're all affected. And it's not like they're keeping you posted on any updates on what's going on. You got to go and find it, right? You got to go and dig.
They
You got to
don't
go
move
to,
like that.
right? You got to go to the meetings to get any kind of clarification on anything. Then you got to petition to get an environmental study. Like, why don't we have this information at our fingertips? Why is the news not?
They don't want it easily accessible. What's the biggest thing that happened with us? They kept information from us so that we wouldn't unite, we wouldn't educate ourselves and take ourselves from one condition to better ourselves. So now they are the kings and queens of misinformation, or they hitting you with the pump fake, where they have you looking over here when all the business is going down on the other side. So you have to be diligent in finding information and getting, knowing when they having public meetings. Because remember, those public meetings are very important. And Theron, knowing you as well, Ina, a lot of stuff go down in these meetings, especially me working for the school system. It all goes down in the board meetings, the Shelby County Commission meetings, the city council meetings. If you're not there, you're not qualified to speak on nothing, because that's where the money is being talked about, programs, things that's coming to the city. But if we're not proactive, and like you said, Ina, we're not looking, if it's not on Facebook, it didn't happen. No, it's on a website buried under some links where you got to really do some digging to find out. They're not going to make it easy for you to get that information.
Not at all. Not at all. Wow. Well, we have definitely been having some interesting conversations today. I think this live is approaching the 2-hour limit. Can you believe it? We love to run our mouth on this social media now, because we can do this.
Running our mouth with positivity. We're not talking about we're not talking about the club. We're not talking about the new Jordans.
We're not talking about the mean girl culture.
We doing what local
about the mean girl club. That
won't
stuff
do.
is distractions. That's distractions.
Right. I just want to put some things on everybody's mind today, and get your thoughts on, what you witnessed in this past week. We're all stuck in the house right now, and I just really want to
school tomorrow. If you Memphis Shelby County School,
MSCS update, John.
Yeah, we just announced that we are closing schools. Schools will be closed tomorrow due to the inclement weather. Please visit scsk12.org. We got some resources for students to do some kind of work, different little exercises, tips that parents that can do with their children. My thing on that, you got time to spend with your family or your children, your loved ones. Spend that time. Put the phone down. It's like it's reminiscent of COVID, where now you gotta really be in the house with your kids. Yes, they eating up the snacks. Snacks probably gone by now. But yeah, spend that time, quality time with your children that are school age. But we are closed tomorrow, and we are monitoring everything. And please visit scsk12.org and not believe what you see on social media. Somebody put a fake post out that said we was closed for the whole week, so we had to put out an official statement that was fake news. That wasn't true.
Wow. Since we've been on the live, I got a call from DeSoto County. So my son, they're out tomorrow as well in DeSoto County. Lamorna in college. Some of my students are hitting me up trying to figure out when I'm gonna be back at the Lowry house because they want to record. And I was just told Thursday potentially going back to LOC. So is there any indication of when MSCS and DeSoto County will return back to school? These roads need to clear on up, John Bess.
Yeah, they look, they thick. I still see thick. My street, it's a block of ice on the whole road. And I got a 4-wheel drive.
Right. Usually you
go to Kroger.
and go and drive on it.
Yeah, but they tell even with your 4-wheel drive in some instances, if you hit that ice, all it takes is one wrong turn.
Yeah.
Or you go too fast and trying to stop. 4-wheel, 2-wheel, you gonna mess up. So I might go to Kroger though. I got a Kroger close by because my grandson he going through the snacks. I mean,
right.
Yeah,
I can tell you what I am. I'm a short order cook up in this joint, y'all. I am the official cook. I'm telling my husband, okay, you could cook something, give me a break. But my husband and my son Eli, they actually went out. He got 4-wheel drive on his truck, and they went to go and try to find some more propane, but no one had any because we're trying to keep that garage a little warm for our dog because the dogs don't want to be outside, baby. So it has been interesting.
Did y'all see the stuff about the ice not melting and they saying it's plastic? And I thought about grabbing some and trying to see for myself, but there was a lot of videos about that saying that the ice is not real ice or something like that.
I have not seen that yet, John.
Yeah, they said it's burning like plastic.
I have not seen that, but I'm sure as soon as I go on TikTok, because my phone heard what you said, I'm gonna see a video. Yep. But before I get you guys off the live, I do see we know who's going to the Super Bowl now. Let's get some pop culture news, a little sports up in here. The Patriots and the Seahawks, which I am a fan of neither. I'm a cowgirl to the day I die. What do you guys think about the Patriots? My son over here laughing at me. What do you think about the Patriots and Seahawks? Did y'all see Cardi B and Stephon, baby? Oh,
yeah, I was happy to see that.
That's the excitement right there.
Yeah, that's it right there. Right. Just like they had, what was it? What's the girl? The white entertainer that was dating
Taylor
the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I want that same energy they gave for Taylor Swift and Kelsey to be the same for Cardi B and Stephon Diggs. Right. I want that same attention.
Yes.
We'll see if we get it. And will Cardi be performing?
Bad Bunny is performing.
Bring her on? I know,
but you know, it'll be interesting.
Right. Does she have a song with Bad Bunny? Do you guys know?
I think they do. I think
Perfect Time.
They do. I think they do.
Timing.
If not, they can do a remix. So they can. They got some time to figure it out. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So we're getting ready for Super Bowl now. So that's going to be very interesting. Memphis is getting ready for all of these political races, all the campaigns. And Brother John, the maker of culture and political Barbie, Theron Bond, we're all going to keep everyone posted on our platforms. I think we should do this like weekly up until the elections. What do y'all think?
You should. You should.
I knew that was coming.
You already know. I'm always trying to get Theron to do more content. She does an absolutely wonderful job. She does commentary during the Ina Esco show on Magic 807 that plays weekdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Magic807radio.com. Big shout outs to John Bess for putting our station together. And I know one of the reasons I brought you on this live as well, John, is because, we're talking about controlling our narratives. People can right now create their own digital radio station and control everything.
Yes. And I am selling radio stations and TV stations, because I see the move where, and you talked about it earlier, I think with Theron, about what if YouTube pull the plug and say your content is no longer available, right? Where you going? Where are you going to go? But imagine I can give you something where you can have your videos or your audio or your interviews, podcasts on your own website, on your own server that's outside of this country. So you have a higher probability of not being cut off, and you still can reach your people through your phone, exactly, or computers. But the days of putting everything in one place like YouTube or TikTok. Y'all see what's happening. When they change the guard, they may change some of the access to your own content. Why you
Yeah.
think they started making these computers with less hard drive space? They don't want you to have your own stuff. They want everything in the cloud, because now that's control again, to Theron's point about controlling something. Own your own stuff. Fan base, yes, I see what he's trying to do with fan base. Good thing, but he may fall into the same category with people like, what if I want my own stuff? What if I want to host my own conversations and stuff? What if we did this on your page, Ina? And the advertisers got to come to you, and you don't get a hand-me-down check from somebody who's getting the lion's share of the profit. What if that all can go to you,
right?
Or all being done on Theron's page? Now we taking it. That's, to me, that's real ownership. That's what I see Jay-Z doing. He looking at ownership like he ain't got no middleman to go through. We can all do something like that. Not on his level. I'm not saying the $1 billion level, but I'm just saying the essence of really owning your stuff and being in control of your own stuff. So yes, if you need if you know somebody that's looking for that, I can make that happen. Thank you for that plug too.
Hit up Brother John. You want your TV station, your radio station? Hit up Brother John, and hit up my girl Political Barbie, Theron Bond, for all political commentary. We're gonna keep these discussions going, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to thank everybody that has put something in the chat. What's up, chat? I see y'all out there. We just had this crazy troll just kind of, really tearing through our chat earlier today, but we handled that. And hey, I want you guys,
before we go, I gotta talk about I'm about to say statewide, citywide, community unity citywide voter registration drive. Keidron Franklin is, or TNT as they know him, is one of the organizers. It's a citywide event happening on February the 1st. They start at 2 p.m. And what he has done with this is gotten together organizers that represent all the districts for district-centered events. They're gonna have, I think they're gonna have, say you can sign up to register to vote, and also get information about voting rights restoration. Which is something that Keidron himself, and he's told his story a number of times, has had his rights restored so that he can in turn vote. And you can find that information, I would say, on his Facebook, but I think it's going to start being posted in a couple of ways because he's got some censorship challenges right now. But it's in every district. It's at a place in every free food and drinks. Register to vote, get your voting rights restoration information, and that's on February the 1st. So folks ain't got no excuses. They coming to your hood, so all you got to do is show up.
Man, big shout outs to Keidron Franklin. That brother right there is doing the organizing we've been talking about. He's one of the ones out here, boots on the ground in the city of Memphis. I would love to have him come on the live as well in the coming days to talk about some of the good work that he's doing.
I'll mention that to him, Ina, because I reached out to him when I saw that they were censoring him. I told him, if he needs some help, and he reached out. And so we probably gonna go on air later tonight, this evening, and I'll mention it to him that he need to get with you so he can get on your platform as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Brother John and Theron Bond, for joining me today on the Live Verbally Effective. You guys stay warm, okay? And we'll be back next week.
Too.
Or maybe tomorrow. You never know. Have a good one, y'all. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.